Oh, today is one of my favorite days of sports, today and tomorrow. I honestly think that a lot of people forget about how good these first couple days of the NBA playoffs are. Eric, there aren't many times when the NBA gets to have the full day. You know, you think of Christmas, where a Christmas day, there are the NBA games. But when we think of March Madness, the first couple days of March Madness, all day it's college basketball. When it comes to football, Sundays, it's all day, it's football. College football, Saturdays, all day, it's college football. And even for baseball, the first couple games in the baseball playoffs are fun. They're during the week, you have games all day. This reminds me of the bubble when we were having basketball games all throughout the day, early on in the day, which was fun. And now we have 4 playoff series that start today, 4 more that start tomorrow. We know all 16 teams that are in the playoffs now. And man, I'm really excited about talking about these games. I've mentioned this before. This is my favorite time as a gambler these next couple months because I really love handicapping a series and how everyone has to counter, and then strength versus weakness. How are you going to counter back after what happened last game? If you're paying attention to every game every day, you can really get a good feel for the way teams are trending. And man, I'm excited to talk about all these games with you.
It's a great day of basketball. There's always usually like 1 or 2 surprises. I can't wait. I think the crowd in the, Grand One Arena in Sacramento tonight is going
oh my gosh. That place is going to be nuts.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully it's a good day of ball, and hopefully we can make some money. Make some money, man. Cash some tickets.
You were rolling on a lot of those first half unders in the play-in games. Now it's a little bit different animal now with the series that we talked about, but you sniffed that out right away. And the play-in games they're not the same as a series. It's just a little bit different when teams have only one game and it could be their entire season. So the energy is really different. There's an anxiety that both players and fans have during those games. We'll probably get a little bit better basketball today, but man, you were really on top of that. And that was one thing that you were able to sniff out through a lot of the play in those first half unders. Great job on that.
That's my bet. Anytime there's an elimination game, that is my angle I like going to answer Bobby's question. No, I have no first half unders today. I do have a player prop under, though.
Cool. I have a couple player props too. I have 4. I think you have 5 or 6 plays throughout the day. I'll have 1 in each game. I'll kind of feel out the process a little bit today, and then I'll dive in a bit more, in the coming days. Remember, Eric and I will be here with you every day that there's an NBA playoff game. So some shows will be a little shorter, some will be a little bit longer. Sometimes they'll be, 1 or 2 games. But for today, for tomorrow, we get them all. We get all 4 games, and they start in less than an hour. They start with Brooklyn and Philly. We're going to take a look at the betting lines at DRF Sportsbook. We encourage any of you in Iowa to head to DRF Sportsbook and make your wagers there. Next week, Eric and I will have direct links for all of you that you want to sign up for DRF Sportsbook and get some of your wagers in. At the end of this show, Eric and I will also talk about a really fun fantasy website called Thrive Fantasy. I want to mention it right now, though, because you only have about an hour, not even, to get your lineups in before the game will lock. And today's featured game, it's a $20 entry game, and the winner gets $400. And they pay out to top 26 places out of 115. So again, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to sound like a broken record for the first few shows, but Eric, I like this site because we aren't playing against thousands and thousands of other random computer-generated bots. We're playing against 100 other entries. It's 115 entries. The winner gets $400 for their 20. Today alone, you can play basketball as a featured contest. There's a baseball contest. There's a UFC contest. There's also a golf contest. Whatever the big sports are, they have daily fantasy games for them. And we can get you a perk when you use the promo code GINO. It'll get you a match deposit bonus, anything from 25 all the way up to 250. So deposit at least 25, but if you're going to be playing, put 100 or a couple hundred in there because you'll get that match deposit bonus. Eric, my friend, Thrive Fantasy. Give us a thought on Thrive before we dive into the games.
Great site. I can't wait to use it today. I already have my lineup, locked in.
And because today what's great is about I think for me, like any fantasy DFS style, the more games that you have, the more options that you have, the easier it is to put a lineup together. That doesn't mean your lineup's going to be great, but you have more options as far as props in all of these games to pick from. Remember, on Thrive Fantasy, not only is it just a DFS site, you can play parlays for like $1. I played a $4 parlay yesterday because I had like $4 left on my account. And so I put together a 5-team parlay. I hit 4 of them. I was like, oh, I was sitting on it. And I was able to turn my $4 into 80. So if you only have a few bucks left on your account, you can put a parlay together of different props. Bobby Thomas checking in today. Let's make some money checking in today. I hate the Lakers. I hate saying this, but I love that you're checking in and hanging out with us today. Would love to be at that Kings game today. Would love to see the Nets beat the Sixers, but think they have zero chance. So let's talk about that game, Erik, because you think they've got a little bit of a chance to at least cover the number. Am I right? You've got the Nets plus 8.5. Let's talk about this series and this game. It's the opening matchup tonight. It's the opening matchup today that we're going to see between Philly and between Brooklyn. And if you would have said Philly versus Brooklyn a month ago, we would have said Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving are on this team. Yep. That's not the case anymore. And this is a Nets team that is built up of a lot of good role players. But the one thing they do, Erik, since the trade deadline, their shooting has gone up from 37% from three. They were ranked 16th. They now shoot, in this sample size, 44% from three, which would rank them 5th. When they shoot, when they make 15 or more threes, they're 9-1. When they make less than 15 threes, they're 4-14. It's been pretty simple for them. They spread the floor out. They don't really have your two dominant players anymore. They're led by Bridges and a lot of other good role players that are now kind of empowered to have a bigger role than they've had in their other places. Talk to us about the Nets, who are the number 6 seed here, playing the number 3 seeded Philadelphia 76ers.
Nets just got blown out by the 76ers, so I think this number's inflated. I think 8.5 is way too many points. I get the Nets really have no one to stop Embiid. I'm no NBA coach, but I did play a little ball back in the day. What I would do is I would let Embiid get his, and after that, I would make the other guys beat me. I would play small. I would play 5 out, and I'd force Embiid to try to play some defense, try to move his feet against the wing player, someone like a Finney Smith, someone that has to play on the outside, just because, let's face it, what's Ben Embiid's biggest knock? He just is not in shape. Make him work a little bit on the defensive end. Nets 12-3 against the number this year, and a dog of 5 or more. Favorite of 5 or more. 76ers 7-13. I looked back at the February 11th game right after this trade happened when both teams were fully healthy. Nets only lost by 3. I think this number should be closer to 5. That's why, I locked it in at the 8.5. And then I also found like a really intriguing future. Spencer Dinwiddie to have the most assists in the series. I found at plus 260. For March, he was averaging 9.7 assists per game. April, 12 assists per game. Harden is the favorite, but he's not 100%. He could get hurt. Maybe it's a couple blowouts, doesn't play the full game. I think that plus 260 price, I think that's a good number at Dinwiddie for a future.
Okay. Dinwiddie for assists. Yeah. You were mentioning Harden a little bit in his health. So I think you're going to really love my play here, Erik. I'm going James Harden under 19.5 points in game 1, which is minus 104. So Harden's not healthy right now, period. Harden's last 10 games, he's averaged 16.4 points per game, 13.8 field goal attempts. His percentages in those 10 games, he's shooting 39% from the field and 30% from 3. and he's only shooting 4 free throws a game. He's not getting to the line. He's not shooting well from 3 or from the field at all. And he's only played 10 of his last 18 games. I don't think, so he has to score 20 points here. He's only averaged just over 20 points this whole year when he was healthy earlier in the year. So I think the number is just a little high. I'm going under. And if you just think about the way these teams match up, the Nets have a couple different guys they can throw at Harden defensively that are going to make difficult for him, right? You'll probably have Bridges. You think about Thomas. They have some wings that will probably not be easy for Harden, because I think you still want to try to take him out a little bit too, and you'll probably leave a guy like Tobias Harris to beat you. So I'm under on Harden today. And Erik, you think the Nets have a shot to at least cover and keep this game close?
Do you trust Doc Rivers?
No, we've talked about it over and over. Never. Absolutely not.
It's hard to trust Doc in that situation. So I'm going to do it.
Nets plus 8.5 for Erik. For me, I was on the Harden under 19.5 minus the 104. That is game 1 of our 4-game slate. So you have the Nets covering. I still would lean Philly winning the game and sort of wearing them down. Do you think, I would assume that because you didn't play the money line, you're not confident for sure that the Nets are going to win this game, because normally you throw those money lines in there when you do.
I would throw the money line in there if I thought they'd win it. I just think it's way too many points. How I have this.
And I agree. That's almost double digits. We're up to 8.5 now. That's a big number for a team. Like we said, let's say that it says about a 15-point game through a lot of the game. Mm-hmm. They can't hit 2 garbage threes late for a team that's been shooting incredible from 3. They're shooting 40+% from 3. Even if they have a bad game and they're down 15, they hit 2 garbage threes late. You're down, you know what I mean? You're right back in this game. So I agree with you. I would not lay the number with Philly. Anything else on the comments? Nothing else regarding this game, folks. If you're out there and you have any questions about this game, feel free to send it in now. Erik and I will be moving on to Atlanta and Boston. So, Erik, we talk about these two teams, and Boston is the number 1 net rating team in the NBA. They have been, honestly, just the most consistent team overall. Number 2 in offense, number 2 in defense. The question I have for them in this particular matchup, though, size-wise, it's not a great matchup for them. I don't think Atlanta is good enough to beat them maybe overall, but if you have Capella, Okonwo, and you have John Collins, that's a lot more size than Boston has. Boston will throw at you Horford and Williams. We don't really know how healthy Williams is. He's only played 35 games this year. He only played 7 of the last 18 games. He missed 7 games in last year's playoff run for Boston. So if he's not there, they're not nearly as big. I don't like this Hawks team, Erik. I don't think it'll really be a competitive series. But if we're looking back and this series goes 6 or 7 games or is a deep competitive series, that is probably the reason why. It's probably because Atlanta's able to impose their will a little bit more with their size on Boston. So talk to us about these two teams a little bit, how you seen today's game shake out, maybe how you seen the series shake out.
I just don't know what Hawks team are we going to get. It's really hard to trust them. Flip side, the Celtics have been off for a little bit. What is Brown? What does Brown's hand look like for when he punched the vase or whatever happened?
Yep. Smart has a neck injury also.
They're a little banged up.
If he's trying to chase around Trae Young, that might not be great for him, if that's the plan.
I do have 2 player props. I'm fading Clint Capella in this game. I bet under 21.5 points/rebounds. You look at him for the season, he only averaged 19.7 minutes per game versus the Celtics during the regular season. I think. And
what happened? Just because I'm not trying to interrupt you, but what you're talking about, I had a note on. When they go small, they went small, and it was really tough for him. He didn't have a matchup because what they would do is if he's out on the perimeter, he was getting beat by back cuts like crazy once he tried to stretch out. And then when they would drop him back a little bit, well, Boston's really good mid-range. Like Tatum and Brown, they hit the mid-range. He's kind of in an in-between spot defensive-wise. Like, I like Collins a lot better in the series than I do Capella because I think he just sort of matches up better size-wise and has, like, he can defend a little bit better against the personnel than Capella.
Agree 100%. And that's part of the reason, like, I think the Celtics, with how many wings they play, are going to force him to play on the perimeter, thus limiting his minutes. Plus, after that monster game he had where he had 21 rebounds, I have to fade him in this game. So Capella under the 21.5 points/rebounds. Next play in this game, I went with Bay over 11.5 points. He's gone over this total in 16 of the 26 games with the Hawks, 9 of the last 10 games, 4 of the last 5. The only game he didn't go over this total was the last game of the season when he only played 15 minutes. He played 33 minutes in a win and get in, in Miami against the Heat. So I think he is lined up to get more minutes. When the Hawks do go smaller, this is going to line up more minutes for Bay. Also, with the way the Celtics play defense, they're going to force everything on Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. This is what they've done in the last couple of years, where they just look to take away your top two guys, force the second tier guys to beat you. I think that's what they're going to do. This is going to lead to a lot more looks for Saddiq Bey. So I took him over the 11.5 points. I think the Celtics win it. I mean, you can get the gentleman's sweep price at plus 185.
Yeah, I like Saddiq Bey too. I played his prop last time, and you know him very well. And he's someone who's just been getting more involved in a couple things too, right? So shooting great since coming over 40% from 3 on 5 attempts per game, 25 games. He's made at least 2 3-pointers, 16 of them. He made 3 more last time. What I just, again, when we talk about the matchups, right? He's struggled a little bit defensively for Atlanta since coming over here, but they need him to play well defensively in this series. He needs to be someone that shoots well and that helps defend their wings. Like, if Atlanta's going to have any chance, they need him to play a lot. He needs to be on the court a lot. He needs to be hitting his shots and also playing defense, because he's going to be like a great fit. So for you, it was Bay, and you were a little bit cold on the Capella props. And for me, as I had just mentioned, I'm going to lean Collins. So I'm looking at Collins and his number, Eric. I think it's a little bit low, just kind of overall. So John Collins points and rebounds 17.5 for plus money. Like, he could score 20 points in a game. Like, Collins is certainly capable of that. John Collins, last 12 games of the year, he averaged 15.3 points per game, 6 rebounds per game. He shot 52% from the field. He shot 44% from 3 on 4.3 attempts. So 2 guys that you want to shoot more, Bay and Collins. They have great 3-point percentages. They fit better defending the personnel of Boston, because Boston's not that big. They're going to go smaller and play more wings. These are the guys that are going to need to be on the court a lot, playing well defensively and getting extra shots. I'm over 17.5 at plus money on the points and rebounds combo for John Collins. So neither one of us think Atlanta will win the series overall. I'm always a little intrigued in a spot like this, for Boston. You said they haven't played in a while. Would I be surprised if Atlanta right now was in a little bit better rhythm than Boston? Maybe you'd play Atlanta first half or something like that. Or maybe even in game 1, Atlanta could keep this close and cover, or even sneak out a win. That wouldn't shock me. But overall, I don't trust this Atlanta team. I don't trust Trae, and I don't really trust what Quinn Snyder has done as a head coach in the playoffs. Like, how do you feel about Quinn Snyder as a coach overall?
I think overall he's a good coach, but you're right. In the playoffs, he really does struggle. Your boy, I hate the Lakers, does bring up a good point. since he's gotten to Atlanta. The Hawks are pretty good in the first quarter. Maybe we can get a little live total, live odds, live money line, live spread going into halftime. Maybe that would be an angle to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Or just play the Hawks to cover the first quarter, one of those two things. But I don't trust Quinn Snyder at all. I don't trust Trae Young at all. I don't trust this Hawks team at all. I think they got lucky on that run they have, and because of that, they're a little inflated. It wouldn't shock me, if they look to move Young in the offseason.
Yeah. Someone was talking the other day, or I think it was Bill Simmons, who sometimes he says some really weird and goofy stuff, but one that made a little sense. He said, what about Lillard? It's like, you put Trae in Portland and you kind of let him start over there and Portland gets a star back. They can get rid of Dame. I didn't mind that. I kind of thought that was a little bit intriguing. Couple other notes.
Would you do that though if you're I wouldn't do that, right? If I was Portland. If I was
Portland, me neither. Cool. You would need Dame to say, hey, I'm gonna push my way out. And if you were trying to trade, you could at least get a guy that could sell some tickets back. But like I've said for all along, I don't think you can win with Trae being your leader. He's going to have to have a moment where he realizes that he's got to be like either you need a big that's a good number one and him, or he'd be best off as your third best player, where you had two other guys and then him, because defensively, he's always going to get attacked. It's always going to be a weakness. Who is he guarding in this series?
Nobody. He can't physically guard anyone. Maybe
because Derek White isn't incredibly offensively, but if Derek White or Marcus Smart want to post up Trae, what is Trae going to do?
He can't do anything. He physically, he can't do anything. So
it's unfortunate.
It's, how can I word this? But he is who he is. They brought in his boy, and he still won't play off the ball even when his boy is there. That pretty much tells you all you need to know about Trae Young.
It's stubborn.
Yeah.
This team was 22nd in defensive rating. They were 25th in defensive rating over the last 15 games, 10-11 since Coach Snyder has come out. I guess 11-11 if you count the play-in game. But Snyder's only been 21-30 in his career in the playoffs. They spit out a series against Denver, and they were up 3-1 in the bubble. They lost a series to the Clippers when Kawhi got hurt, and they were tied 2-2. And then they lost a series to the Mavs without Luka last year. Can Murray and Hunter slow down the star wings? There are a couple. So between Murray, Hunter, and Bey, at least they have a few defenders they can throw at Tatum and Brown to try to slow them down. The problem, though, is if Murray is spending a whole lot of energy trying to slow down a Tatum or a Brown, what is he going to be able to give you offensively? And I don't know if Trae is going to be Trae's not going to be able to operate easily against this team that is way bigger than him. And he's not going to be able to shoot over them. So I could see Boston having a tough time with some of their wings. I could see Boston's having a tough time with the size. Atlanta has been the number 2 offensive rebounding team since the All-Star break. Okonwo and Clint Capella are both individually top 12 offensive rebounders. But I just think Boston is a much better team overall.
Maybe look to play some Okonwo props.
Yeah.
Maybe look at
Big O, some rebounding stuff there too, because he's a little bit more he's more versatile than Clint Capella. He was a USC boy. He's he has offensive skill too. Okonwo's only problem has been he hasn't been really healthy his first 2 years, but he's going to be good next year and in another year, because you can see he can defend smaller guys too. He blocks shots, he gets boards, and you can throw him the ball and he can get you a bucket or two. While I'm watching Boston throughout the playoffs, one thing I'm going to keep an eye on, Erik, Al Horford this year, he shot 44% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. In his career, he's a 37% shooter. Over the last 5 years, he shot 35% from 3. That is insane. I mean, and that wins you a few games. A guy like that shooting that much better than the norm. Is he going to come back and regress to the mean and be more like a 35% shooter, especially in the playoffs? Probably. And you know what? Then you start wondering about Horford's age. Like, he's going to hit a wall soon at some point, right? He's getting
It's
older.
only
The
a matter of
mileage is there.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before he's hitting a wall. I mean, he's had a good run. All those other guys from that Florida team that were in the league, they're well past being in the league, if that, you know what I mean? They're well done.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before he hits that proverbial wall, and maybe it's this playoff run. I mean, maybe his window is shut down.
I hate the Lakers asking if Harden, was out there hitting the strip joints last night. Also, is there an NBA team that Spencer hasn't played for? How about Spencer and Kuzma getting into it? Did you see that? Did you see some of that? I don't. It was just funny. I don't really understand it, but Dinwiddie was talking. Kuzma got offended. Kuzma said, "What the hell have you ever done?" And so starts there chirping back and forth. I love it. I'm a Kyle Kuzma stan, but that's great. I just like the fact that there is a little beef between these two, which just seems so random. Erik, anything else you want to mention about Atlanta and Boston before we move along?
No.
Okie dokie. Let's get to game 3 of our 4-game slate today. This one's going to go at 6:00 p.m. Eastern time. We will have the Knicks. We will have the Cavs. So Julius Randle, props are up. Looks like he's going to be playing, but keep in mind, Julius Randle has not played since March the 29th. But he had a great year, averaged 25 points per game, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot 34% from 3 on 8.3 attempts. But how healthy is he with his ankle? A couple other points for the Knicks. Their series price is around plus 170 here, as the Cavs are favored in this game by about 5.5. As we look at the lines, it's kind of settled at about 5 as we are checking out DRF Sports here. So for the Knicks and the Cavs, what's fascinating to me about this matchup, the Knicks are 3rd in the league in points per possession. They will drive right at you. If you think about their personnel, they're going to just drive. 27% of their shots came at the rim. Of all the teams in the playoff, that's 3rd. So they're one of the most prolific scoring teams in the paint. Brunson has had a great year. Remember last year he led Dallas without Luka to defeat Donovan Mitchell in a playoff series. In that series,
they need to be kicking themselves for not just taking that contract.
My gosh.
That is an ultimate blunder.
Unbelievable. And in that series, Brunson averaged 27.8 points per game. Mitchell averaged 25.5. Brunson shot 48% from the field. Mitchell shot 39% from the field. The Knicks have really enjoyed Josh Hart. In his 25 games, he's shooting 52% from 3. 52% from 3. Barrett, Quickly, Grimes, they've all had really nice years. This has been a Knicks team that's played very well. They overachieved 2 years ago. Then last year, they took a step backwards. This year, they've been a solid team throughout. They earned the 5 spot here. They're in this 4-5 matchup against the Cleveland Cavs. Cavs are your minus 200 series favorite in here. They allow fewer points per possession during the regular season than any other team because of Mobley, because of Allen. They are the number 1 defensive rating in the league, number 2 net rating. They also had a top 10 offense. They had the second best point differential in the league, second best in double-digit wins. And for as much as I was just giving Donovan Mitchell some crap, in the playoffs, his career points per game average, he's number 7 all time. He's number 7 all time, and Anthony Davis is number 8. Here's the guys in front of Donovan Mitchell. And this is based on a sample size. So you have to have played, I think it's either 35 or 40 games to have hit this number. Michael Jordan, Luka, Allen Iverson, Kevin Durant, Jerry West, LeBron, Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Davis. So those guys have definitely elevated their game come playoff time. Last 2 playoff seasons, Donovan Mitchell has averaged 29.8 points per game. He shot 36% from three on 10.2 attempts per game. Also, 7+ free throw attempts per game. He's averaged more points than AD, Giannis, Curry, Jokic, Hakeem, Lillard, Kobe, Dirk, Kareem, and Shaq. So what's cool about these two teams, fantastic defense, great at defending the paint, and then you got another team that just wants to drive right at you. Something's got to give here for Donovan Mitchell. His strength, offense, his defense has been a major weakness. Sometimes he's been a turnstile, but he's been a little bit more, he's just tried harder this year. He's given a little bit more effort on the defensive side than he has in some years past. So Erik, talk to us about this game today. Knicks about a 5.5 point underdog. How are you seeing it unfold?
Well, obviously, what's the health of Randall? That's the big thing. From what you're hearing, it's going to go. You're right. Mitchell does perform well in the playoffs, but when you look at his team record and how they've done, it's not that good. He's not winning as much as his points per game should indicate. Knicks, second best offensive rebounding team in the league. For the Cavs having Mobley and Allen, they're only mid-tier in defensive, in rebounding defensively. So I think the Knicks will be able to get some second chance points. Knicks, fourth best offensive team in the league. Cavs allowed 94.9 points per 100 plays. But the thing that really stuck out to me was this. Tibbs 3-1 against the spread as a dog. Love Tibbs in this situation in game ones. Yep. When you look at the Cavs and you bring them and you just do two tiers, teams with winning records, teams without winning records, teams with losing records. They beat up teams with losing records. They were below 500 against teams with winning records. Knicks have a winning record. I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people realize. I think the Knicks do have the advantage in coaching. And in a playoff situation, I think I'll take Brunson over Mitchell, as crazy as it sounds.
And like we saw it was proven last year. Now, to answer what Let's Make Some Money had just said, scoring doesn't matter, winning does. Winning matters more, but scoring matters, right? Like, we're not going to say that doesn't matter, but you're right. Winning matters more than scoring. It is still, you still want a guy to score, right? It is impressive that Mitchell has raised his game, but what hurts for Mitchell is that defensively, you can still attack him. And I'm not going to say like I'm the biggest Donovan Mitchell supporter, but I do think that it was more than his fault in Utah, why they were losing, right? There was weird stuff with Gobert. We don't know. Gobert would get played off the court sometimes against smaller teams. I didn't really love their whole grouping of players. There was a bad energy year in, year out. I'm not going to put that all on Mitchell. I'm not, right? When he was the guy that was elevating his game, but you're absolutely right. That matters. I went through all of the things. Do you put that on Mitchell? Do you put that on Quinn Snyder? Do you put that on Gobert, Connolly? I put it on a little bit of all of them, but I will give Mitchell credit for elevating his game. And if you watch his playoff games, he can score easily still when it's harder for a lot of people to score. So that's a positive. But now, Erik, on this team, can he move his feet a little bit? Can he put his hands up and just not be the guy that they attack every time defensively? Because a good coach is going to do that.
Yeah, they're going to go right at him defensively. I think that's going to be hard. I think he's going to be a little bit more of a liability. So I took the Knicks.
I hate the Lakers, and as we were mentioning earlier, not only these two lost to the Mavs with no Luka, lost to the Clippers with no Claw, and they were up 3-1 against Denver in the bubble, and they spit that one out. Again, though, that's hard to give Mitchell crap because Mitchell and Murray were having those incredible games where they were going back and forth. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I like the Knicks here. And then also I looked at this. I played Mobley over 1.5 blocks. I found it at plus 105 against the Knicks this season. He's averaging 2.5 blocks per game. The 4 games against the Knicks, 4 blocks, 2 blocks, 4 blocks. In the game October 30th, when the season was just starting, and him and Allen were still trying to figure out playing with each other. He only had 1 block. when Allen's in there, he roams a lot more. And then if Randall doesn't get much elevation on his jump shot as is, if he's still hurt, that's going to be less elevation.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm seeing this at plus money. I'll take this all day.
Mobley over on the blocks for Erik. Yeah, Erik, we've been talking about Randall. I love Julius. Honestly, when Julius left the Lakers, he was the Laker that I liked the most of all of the young guys because I just love the way he, as a fan, you never really wondered if Julius was trying or cared. He always plays he has an incredible motor. He doesn't stop working. He goes after every rebound. He cares. He wasn't the most talented guy. And heck, when he played for the Lakers, he didn't even shoot threes. It's crazy. He didn't even attempt 3-pointers. And now he shoots 8 or 9 of them a game. But I loved him. I just can't. This number is way too high for his point total. He only averaged 25 points this year. And we're looking at a guy who has not played a game since March the 29th. So 2 full weeks. He only played 14 minutes that day. He missed the last 5 games. And yes, he averaged 25 points a game this year. But Erik, Julius Randle isn't a 25 points a game career scorer. He's never been that. He's like an 18 to 22 kind of guy. Like that's who he is. Even coming out of college, he wasn't like a monster scorer. He's a rebounder, little bit of a scorer. Like when he has a good defensive matchup, he will try hard defensively. I just don't think it. Think about his health. Now he's playing against the number 1 defense, Mobley and Allen. That's what he's going to be dealing with here. Those guys off of the bench, he's going to be a little bit off the bench, off of the break, he's going to be rusty, not having played for 2 weeks. I'm going under Julius Randle, 24.5 points at minus the 120 here. And yeah, I mean, my concern with Cleveland overall is their depth. Like, what's their bench going to look like? Right? Is it LeVert off the bench, Rubio, Osman, and Stevens? This team was 28th in bench scoring this year. Do they have enough depth to get you through 3 rounds or 4 rounds if they want to be a championship team? I still think they're missing another piece or two. Cleveland overall.
I look at this. To me, in this series, it's going to be the Knicks win in 7 or the Cavs win 4-0 or 4-1.
And just blow them out, and the matchup is not great for the Knicks.
But it's going to be one of the 2 things. Like, in my eyes, that's how this is playing out.
We'll see if that depth will come into play in this series at all. Game 3 of our 4-game NBA slate today. Let's move into the final game, Erik. This one is the main event, and in this game, we head to Northern California, up to NoCal, brah. And in NoCal, we're going to take a look at the Sacramento Kings hosting the Golden State Warriors. Man, Sacramento, you have a fantastic year. You snapped the longest playoff drought, 16 seasons. And then you got to get the Golden State Warriors, the defending champs, in the first round. But everybody is just penciling the Warriors in. They are about a minus 300 favorite in the series on the road. And I just don't think anybody's talking about how bad this team was on the road this year, Erik. Everyone's just moving them right in. Oh, they're last year's returning champs. They look like they're healthy. Curry's playing well. Wiggins is going to be back. Oh, the Kings don't play defense. Warriors, no doubt about it. I mean, will it be a disadvantage?
That's tricky. I look at it like this. The Warriors are 11-30 on the road. We have no idea. Everyone's saying Wiggins is coming back. What are we going to expect from Wiggins? What are we going to expect?
So he's played 37 games this year. Mm-hmm. If Wiggins is 100%, he is the perfect fit for this team. He gives them wing defense. He can score. You played him to lead the finals in rebounding last year. He's shooting almost 40% from 3. The problem is he hasn't played since February 13th. 25 games. And now you're asking him to come in and defend the number one defensive team in the number one offensive team in the league.
Yeah.
Is he ready for this? Like, is he in the physical shape to be chasing around this Kings team that is going to run you up and down?
I don't think he is. I think it's a hard ask for him to bring in this situation. Mentally, we're not going to talk about allegedly what happened, but mentally, what's his space in? Mentally, if someone starts talking trash or fans start heckling him about it, how is he going to react to that? We don't know. And you can't, for as much as he worked out, you cannot replicate game speed. So I think it's going to take him 1 or 2 games to get back into the swing thing.
And shooting wise, right? Is his shot going to be on? He hasn't shot in live game. He was shooting 40%. I'd imagine he's going to be a little bit off. Like you said, this is going to be a different speed of game. He's going to go into this arena that is going to be rocking and rolling. They have not had a playoff game in almost 20 years. And now they get to play the big brother from right down the road who everybody has talked about, and you've had to like have a chip on your shoulder about the team that's in your area and that's way better than you. Even if the Kings don't win the series, I was always going to play them in this game today because everybody has just completely penciled in Golden State.
Yeah, and you look at Golden State's defense, they allowed a buck 17.1 points per game. They struggled defending the center position. That's Sabonis. I think Sabonis is going to be able to get Draymond Green in foul trouble. Also, everyone's talking about who's going to guard Curry, who's going to guard Fox. I mean, you look at it, the Warriors struggle defending the point guard. The 2 best players that the Kings have, Warriors just struggle defending.
If you try to put Peyton in to guard Fox, then you lose all your offense, right?
Yeah.
Like, because Peyton doesn't give you very much offensively, and he's not been healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you have to have Peyton and Draymond on the court, then and like, what about Looney? Right? So now all of a sudden, you're bringing in these guys that might be a little bit better defensively, but they severely strap you and handicap you offensively.
Yeah, and I just feel that it's just a great matchup. What I did was I played the Kings, I think at plus 255 to win the series. Yeah. If they win this game, I'll look to hedge out, take the Warriors. I played them on the money line for the first half and the game. I think the Golden Center one is going to absolutely be rocking. This is our first playoff game since 2006. I think people are just forgetting how bad the Warriors were on the road. 11-30 on the road this year.
They were losing to Denver without Jokic. They were losing to teams without their key players, too. They were losing in must-win games down the stretch. It wasn't like the Warriors were able to, like, it looks like the Warriors had a great year because they finished in the 6th spot. Dude, they were 1 loss away from being in the play-in. This team couldn't turn it on and off like you normally see with a really good team. Why do I believe that they're going to just be able to flip a switch right now that they couldn't flip on the road against really bad teams?
This reminds me a lot of the Nets team from last year. We all expect the Nets team to show up, compete against Boston. They got swept.
Yep.
It was never really a series except for 1 game. I think too much respect is being put on the Warriors for what they have done on the playoffs, and rightfully so. I like the Kings here. I think they get it done in game 1.
Fox was the best clutch player in the league this year in clutch situations down the stretch. He had multiple game winners. He hit big shot after big shot. Sabonis averaged 19 plus points per game, 12.3 rebounds, 7.3 assists. He shot 60% from the field. What's really cool about this series, you have 5 players in this series that have made over 200 3-pointers. 5 different guys that have 200 threes this year. Curry, Clay, Poole, and then Herter and Murray for the Kings on the Warriors side. So think about this. If you're someone who's playing like a Warriors future, they will probably have to play every single series on the road. Everyone. Like, I mean,
which is
the
not
only way they're
do.
not going to play a road series is if they play the Lakers or the T-Wolves. Anything else, they're not getting home court advantage here.
No.
Now, they are the number 1 pace team in the league. They're coming off a record 55 points in the first quarter on Sunday. That's sort of, I don't like that either, right? You shoot so lights out in a game that you really didn't need to score 55 points. You're playing the Blazers, who had nobody. They were sitting all of their key players. So did you want that? I know you needed to win that game, but wouldn't you have rather had the 55 for this game? Like, are you going to be shooting that hot again? I would have played, you and I would, like, shot quality, we would have blindly played against any team coming off a 55-point quarter like that, like in their next quarter. Positives. The projected starting lineup with Wiggins outscored their opponents by 21.9 points per 100 possessions. It was the best among 41 lineups that played with at least 200 total minutes. Number 1 offense, number 5 defense. The problem is that lineup has not played 1 minute together since February 4th. 2.5 months. They haven't even played 1 minute together. And this is a huge year and a huge few weeks for Golden State, because they got a ton of money to pay out, and their ownership can't pay what everyone is set up to make. Clay's going to be making $43 million a year with an extension coming that kicks in soon. Wiggins and Poole's extensions both kick in next year, and Draymond's up for a contract. So they're not going to be able to keep all these guys together. Something's going to happen. And if your window is shutting quickly, like if you don't right now, what are you going to do? Because if Draymond's not around, then your whole team's different. Defensively, you're different. He's the guy that's anchored everything. He knows exactly where to get Steph and Clay the ball. He's such the engine of all of this.
I mean, if there was only an undersized guard that doesn't defend that they'd even given a crazy contract to, they'd be a little bit more freed up.
I know. JP, Jordan Poole. I think that one's going to hurt them in a little bit. Shout out to Clay, though, man. After everything he's been through, Clay led the league and made 3-pointers this year, 301 of them in 69 games. Erik and I are both on the Kings on the money line. Erik also playing the Kings on the first half. So, Erik, let me repeat my plays one more time for today. I've got Harden under 19.5 points at -104. I've got John Collins over 17.5 points, rebounds on a combo at +110. I've got Julius Randle under 24.5 points at -120. I've got the Kings money line today. So those are my 4 plays on the day. For Erik, we've got Nets plus the 8.5. We've got Capella under 20.5 points and rebounds. We've got Sadiq Bey over 11.5 points. We've got Mobley for the Cavs over the 1.5 blocks. We've got the Knicks plus the 5.5 in that game. And Erik and I are both on the Kings. Erik's got them on the first half, and we've got him on the money line as well. So a recap of all of our plays for today. Erik, let's get into a couple plays for Thrive Fantasy, and then we'll read through some of the comments. So keep bringing your comments in. We will address them and answer them in just a moment, but you only have like 10 minutes to get this Thrive Fantasy contest submitted. So let's give out a couple plays for today, Erik, for Thrive. I'm going to pull up the website right now. The contest that we're discussing, it's a $20 Saturday NBA first round, $2,000 guaranteed. There are 115 entries that they will have. $400 to the winner. It pays out the top 26 places. Erik, talk to us about one or two of your plays for today.
Well, obviously, Mobley over on blocks. I mean, that just makes sense to me. I betted that. Next one, kind of piggybacking one of the plays that you had. I played Randall under 37.5 points, rebounds, assists. Yep. We got the health factor. We got Mobley guarding him. And I really feel like he needs to get 25 points to go over that. And I don't think he's going to get 25 points in this game. So I played the under the 37.5. And, you know, we just talked about Mr. Poole. Poole under 20.5 points. 4 games versus the Kings this year. He's averaged only 13 points per game. He only went over this total one time in 4 games against the Kings, who are one of the worst defensive teams overall in the NBA. And he's such a huge liability defensively. He's going to be limited in the minutes. Like he's a regular season player. He's not a playoff type player. So yeah, I'm taking
he's the playoff player that you can have for his role to come in off the bench, fill it up, and help you win maybe one game in a series. But there are going to be 2 games where instantly you can say, tonight is not a Jordan Poole night. Because if he's not doing, I compare Jordan Poole to like a Trae Young, to like an Isaiah Thomas kind of player. Those guys have to be so fantastic offensively in order to outweigh their defensive limitations, that if Poole comes in and he misses his first couple shots, you can know right away, oh, that's not the night we need from Poole. If he comes in and he's just lighting it up, then sure, he's great. He'll help you win a game or 2, but I do not like depending on him at all.
I agree.
I hate like needing him out there. He's icing on the cake. He's not the cake, you know? So I that was one of mine also. The under for Poole. You mentioned Julius, which is a good one. I actually like the Jalen Brunson 29.5 points and assists. I just think with Julius's health, we could see Brunson with the ball in his hands a little bit more here. And with, you know, his playoff experience and with how good he was last year, how great he is at making decisions. I like that one with Brunson and the over 29.5 points and assists. There was one more that I was giving a look to. But those are the 2 main ones. So for Erik and I, both on the under for Poole, I went on the over for Brunson. And the details for today's contest. If you play in today's Thrive Fantasy Contest, you can see across the bottom, we are on the ticker there. All the details, $20 entry. $2,000 prizes. You use that promo code GINO, and it'll get you a bonus, a match deposit bonus, all the way up to $250. So again, play in that contest today. $20 entry, $2,000 prizes, $400 to the winner. Promo code GINO, and deposit at least $25, but deposit a little bit more because you'll get the match bonus all the way up to $250. Okay, Erik, game starts soon, but let's answer some of these questions that were flying in through some of the folks out there. I hate the Lakers, says Gino. I may not like the Lakers, but I love the Clippers. Why? Like, that's what I like. Why and how could you like the Click? What makes you like the Clippers? The fact that they've never won anything, ever. The fact that the 4 years ago when they traded for Kawhi and Paul George, we got banners put up and billboards put up everywhere talking about how they run this town. Everybody said they were going to be the champs, and the Lakers win a title instantly, and we don't even see this team make a finals run. Come on. Come on. You cannot like the Lakers. I know everybody hates the Lakers, but you like the Clippers? Really? Really? Come on. Come on. Are C-Web and J Will going to be there today? Oh, that would be great, right? Some of those like Doug Christie. Can we get him out there too? Some of the other Vladi. Where's Vladi? Yeah.
Peja Stojakovic.
Yep, Peja. We get all of those. Bobby Jackson up there. Bobby Thomas. And Erik, man, you were right. You were spot on Poole. I think they paid too much, and that is going to be something that could hurt them. And that could be a reason why they can't sign a Draymond, is because you paid a guy like Poole. First basket. He says, Clay, first basket, lock it in. Sabonis can't win a jump ball to win his life. Okay. So he's playing Golden State, thinking it's going to be on the Golden State side. First basket. Good luck. Let's make money. He likes Clay, first basket, lock it in. Bobby Thomas said Vinny Johnson is a ceiling, talking about Poole. Yeah, right? Like a guy that is your lighted up guy, help you win a game or 2, but you don't want to depend on him. Other stuff from I hate the Lakers. Embiid in the first game, no brainer, but plus 290 is an awful price. Was that for first basket for Embiid? Yeah, for all the different options, like that's not great value here. Awesome. Really nice to hear from Bobby Thomas. Let's make some money 69. We've got I hate the Lakers 99. I know you hate the Lakers. I hate the Clippers, but I do like you. I hate the Lakers, and I do like the fact that you're coming here and hanging out with us. And you obviously are sharing some very sharp sports takes here, and you know your stuff. So thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for joining us. Erik, this worked out perfectly because we have a game starting in about 2 minutes. So beautiful. I'm excited to talk, to watch these games and then talk about 4 more with you tomorrow, my friend. Dad was a Clippers fan. That's why I like them. Okay, well then I respect that. I respect that. You're not like a bandwagon fair weather fan who just joined the Clippers bandwagon because they've been good recently. I like that. You've struggled. You've had a lot of years where you probably we're dealing with struggles. So as a fan, you deserve some success there. But let's make some money. Likes the Lakers also. Erik, buddy, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, let's try to make some money, man.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll be back tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. We'll get you set up for 4 more games tomorrow that begin with the Lakers. I hope I'm rocking a new one of these. This is that last time they won the title. The title shirt got everybody all animated, cartoon style. Let's do it. Lakers tomorrow.
Frank Vogel on that?
Vogel there's no coaches on here. It's just all the players, but there's a lot of players that are not back around anymore. This one's a cool one. Erik, great work as always. Good luck to you in all your plays. Good luck to all of you out there. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for Fast Break Bets.